Mike Penny is a longtime NHL scout. In the province of BC, he's well known for his work with the Vancouver Canucks and most notably doing the research that helped determine to allow for the Canucks to be able to draft Pavel Bure in the 1989 draft in the 6th round at a time when almost every other NHL team thought Pavel wasn't eligible for the 89 draft because he hadn't played enough games yet to meet the necessary criteria. I spoke with the 2024 BC Hockey Hall of Famer at the 2023 CHL Top Prospects game hosted by the Vancouver Giants, and I asked him how important is the Top Prospects game for the players participating.
Well, it's been around for a number of years now, and I've attended many in the past. I haven't in the last couple of years, but it's an ideal opportunity for all of the people in the National Hockey League to see all of supposedly the top quality individuals throughout the major junior A leagues in Canada, and it gives them a chance to get together to not only view their skill and ability, but also just to gather some information that may be required for the future.
How much is and how important is an event like this to get all the NHL staffs that are all in one place at one point in time right now, midway through the season, getting them all together and chance to bounce ideas in person?
Well, I was at the Canuck game last night, and you could see the number of GMs, assistant GMs, head amateur scouts, etc., that were in attendance there. And of course, they were all rolled out here today for this event. And it's a beautiful facility. It is important. It's also time for them to, you don't get everybody's on their own schedule over the course of the year, so you don't get many events like this where you're all in the one spot at the one time. And I'm sure there's some dialogue to do with what they want to do going forward, trade-wise, etc.
And just how important nowadays in today's NHL is to make sure you get these draft picks right with 32 teams and everyone competing so hard, and the NHL is such a competitive league. How important are these decisions right now to see these players and make sure you make the right decisions?
Well, it's changed obviously as we've gone forward. Analytics become a big part of it. Fitness and your mental outlook on the game, your focus, your commitment, your compete level. A lot of the amateur scouts now get out. They get into it. They do some digging. They don't only watch the games, but there's a lot of background work that goes into it, and it is important. I mean, you don't get many kicks at the cat. There's 32 teams, and obviously, as you know, that's the top guys, and then as you go down, it thins out a little bit, but there's players out there, and it takes some of these guys a little while to crack it to get into the league, so you want to try to do the best you can with the 7 picks that you have and make sure that you give them the opportunity going forward and put them in the best position to play.
And Kyle Jervis, your general manager, is known for using a lot of information. Just how does he use the information that he gathers and relays it to the rest of the scouts to help you guys in your evaluation process and helping your jobs with the team?
Well, Kyle does a lot of due diligence. He's very precise, a lot of detail. He stays in touch. He's got a great communicator with the amateur and the professional scouts, and he follows up on it. And we got a great analytic department that provides him with the information that he requires to hopefully make the right decisions. And it's a big part of what you do. It's not a case of just fluffing it off and putting your finger on a page and saying, I'm going to take this guy. There's a lot of thought that goes into that process.
How much have you seen, the preparation and the detail that these players have gone through over the years? How much have you seen that process improve from, say, 15, 20 years ago to where they're at now in terms of all the information that they gather and all the work that they put in terms of getting ready to be NHL players?
Well, this is my 53rd year. So when I first started, it was, who yelled the loudest. And then as we've gone on here, it changed dramatically. The innovation of computers coming into it, more detail, doing interviews, prospect, central scouting's assessment camp, at the conclusion of the year, and the interview process, and just getting more involved with the players. I mean, years ago, you would just pick a player. You never talked to him until after you selected him. That's out the window now. Now it's, what am I doing? So much money involved that when you go forward that you want to hopefully make the right decision that's going to benefit your team in the long run.
And at the end of the day, this is just part of the process to get drafted. Then they get into an organization, and then they put in the next level of work preparing for the NHL. And just take me through all that.
Then your development people take over, and it's a process there. They monitor him through the team that he's playing for, and just follow up and just make sure that going forward and see if they can work with the team he's playing with to help his development both off and on the ice to put him in the best position to compete for a spot on your roster at some point.
Speaking with Mike Penny, and I'll wrap this up with you, but ask you about the story of finding Pavel Bure, and you're well known for being credited for finding Pavel back in the day in the Soviet Union, and I was a big fan of his growing up. Just take me through that story of finding Pavel and, just scouting in the NHL at that time.
Well, it was the right place, the right time, and going to Russia at that time, it was, you needed visas, you had to have an invite to get into the country, and so I was over there, and it all started around, we had drafted Larionov before that, and in watching him, Pavel showed up on the scene, and of course, asked and said, who's this guy, who's this young kid, and of course, he's a young kid playing with men at the time. And I thought, well, we're going to keep track of this guy. And then when he did become draft eligible, it was a case of, at that time, you had to play 11 games sanctioned by the International Ice Hockey Federation. So you had to have the game sheet with the names on it. So we were able to accumulate those 11 game sheets, and took a little bit of a process to do it, and we felt comfortable we had it. And then, if the information had been out there at other teams, he would have gone a lot higher, because we ended up getting him later, I think it was 6th round, and just saying to Pat Quinn, I said, look, Pat, why don't we just take a flyer here, and if we get him, we got him, and if it goes by the wayside, it's 6th round. He says, are you sure you got it right? I said, I'm sure I got it right. So we took him, and there was a little bit of a dispute over it, but we were able to prove that our documentation was correct, and he ended up playing in Vancouver and was an outstanding player for us. He's a fun guy to watch.
How closely guarded was that state secret of those games played that he played in order to maintain his eligibility for the draft at that time?
Well, I certainly wasn't going to tell anybody.
You can certainly tell it now, though.
Had some help to obtain those game sheets, and I just happened to be in a place in Finland, and there he was, and they celebrate Russians celebrate Christmas different time than the Finns, and they were playing 2 games right around Christmas time. They were what they call friendlies with the Finnish national team, and I was able to get the game sheets, and they were you count them all up, it came out to 11.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. I really, really appreciate this, and thanks for the stories.
Okay, thank you.
That's longtime NHL scout and 2024 BC Hockey Hall of Famer, Mike Penny. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this interview. Please check out other interviews on the channel if you want more content. Please like and subscribe. I'm Eddie Gregory.